Hello, dear friend. Welcome to tonight's peaceful sleep story. My name is Tony, and it is my deepest joy to be here with you tonight, guiding you into a world of quiet calm, where the cares of the day gently fade away. Before we begin, I kindly ask that if you enjoy this story, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Your support means so much to us, and it helps us create more peaceful stories like this, just for you. And if you feel moved, please leave us a comment, sharing your thoughts or any suggestions you may have, so that we can continue to improve and bring even more peace to your nights. Now, let's settle in. Take a moment to find your coziest spot. Adjust your blankets and feel the soft warmth surrounding you. Close your eyes gently and let the quiet of this moment embrace you. Take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. Feel your body begin to relax with every breath, letting go of any tension you might be holding. There's no rush, no need to do anything but listen. Allow yourself to drift into the gentle flow of the story. Tonight, we will journey to a quiet hidden place, a peaceful river where the soft murmur of water will soothe your soul, and the night air will carry you deeper into rest. Let's begin our journey together. Part 1. The Mysterious Boat and the Little Girl. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled by a winding river, there was a story that had been passed down for generations. It was a tale full of wonder, of mystery, and of a little girl who appeared as if from nowhere she was found one chilly winter's night, floating alone in a boat, the gentle current carrying her toward the shore. The boat was a simple thing, wooden and weathered by time, its sides creaking with the weight of years. It drifted quietly along the water, the ripples whispering like a lullaby, and within the boat, wrapped tightly in a blanket, was a little girl, no more than 6 or 7 years old. She was still unmoving, her face pale, and her eyes closed as though she were sleeping. There was no sign of anyone else. No one to explain how she had come to be there or where she had come from. She was a mystery, a living enigma. The villagers who found her on the bank of the river gathered around in silence, staring at her with wide eyes, wondering who she was, how she had arrived, and why. But there was something about her that felt different, something that made them hesitate, a sense that perhaps this little girl wasn't just a child lost to the world, but someone meant to be here in this place on this river. They carefully lifted her from the boat and carried her to the village. As they did, they could hear nothing but the soft rustle of the wind in the trees, the quiet flow of the river, and the gentle murmurs of the villagers. The little girl didn't wake up. Her eyes stayed closed, her body still. She seemed to be in a deep, peaceful sleep. The villagers placed her in the care of the healer, a woman known for her wisdom and kindness, who lived at the edge of the village near the forest. She was a gentle soul with a heart full of compassion and a knowledge of herbs and healing that had been passed down through generations. The healer sat beside the little girl, her hands resting lightly on the child's forehead. She could feel the warmth of the girl's skin, but there was something else there. Something that the healer couldn't explain. A quiet, almost magical energy that seemed to pulse with the rhythm of the river itself. The healer whispered soft words, her voice low and soothing, as though speaking to the earth and the water, asking for guidance. And as she did, something strange happened. The little girl's eyes fluttered open, just for a moment. And in that moment, the healer saw something in her eyes, a deep, ancient wisdom, a knowledge that could not belong to such a young child. But before the healer could speak, the little girl closed her eyes once more, as though the secret she held was too precious to share. The villagers, curious and concerned, gathered around the healer. They asked her if the child would wake, if she would remember who she was, and what had brought her here. But the healer only smiled gently, her gaze soft and understanding. She did not have the answers, for this child, this mysterious girl, was part of a story that had yet to unfold. As the days passed, the little girl remained in the healer's care. She ate, she slept, but she never spoke. And yet there was a peace about her, a stillness that seemed to calm everyone around her. It was as if her very presence was a gentle balm for the heart. Part 2. Whispers of the River. Lila's presence in the healer's home became a quiet mystery that seemed to echo through the village. The days passed in a gentle rhythm, and the once quiet village began to hum with whispered conversations and fleeting glances. The little girl who had arrived on the river was now a part of their lives, though no one truly understood why she was there or what had brought her. The healer, as wise as she was, could feel the pull of something unknown. She often found herself standing by the window, gazing out at the river, its waters glimmering under the pale light of dawn or the soft glow of dusk. It was as if the river itself had a secret, and it was waiting for someone to unravel it. But for all her knowledge, the healer couldn't make sense of the strange magnetic energy that seemed to radiate from the little girl. The river, with its endless flow, had a voice of its own, whispering through the trees, rustling the leaves, and calling to those who would listen. There was something ancient in those whispers, something older than the village, older than time itself, and it seemed to be tied to the little girl. The river's song. It was early one morning when the village's quiet was pierced by the faint sound of a song. It was not a song that anyone could place, nor one that had ever been heard before. The melody seemed to rise from the river itself, a soft, mournful tune, as if the river itself was singing a forgotten lullaby. The healer, who had woken early, followed the sound drawn by the familiar pull. She made her way to the riverbank, the cool mist brushing her face, her heart beating softly with the rhythm of the water. As she stood there gazing out over the flowing stream, she felt something shift. The air around her seemed to grow thicker, as if the river was alive, its very flow carrying something important, something urgent. And then she saw it. A small ripple broke the surface of the water, and something gleamed beneath the mist. It was the boat that had carried the little girl. It was floating on the water, once again drifting slowly downstream, its hull now gleaming with a strange ethereal light. The healer stood still watching as the boat passed by its path, deliberate, as if it knew where it was going. She could feel her heart quicken, the pull of the river stronger now than ever before. For the first time she wondered if this was more than just a girl, if the river itself had brought her here for a purpose, known only to it. The boat drifted its journey seemingly endless, and as it disappeared into the fog, the sound of the song faded, leaving only the soft murmur of the river behind. The arrival of the stranger days passed, and the little girl remained silent, her gaze distant, as though she were listening to something the others could not hear. But even in her silence there was a change. Her presence had become a quiet mystery, a thread in the fabric of the village that no one dared tug at too hastily. Then one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a stranger arrived. He was tall and lean, with eyes that seemed to carry the weight of years, though his face was young. He appeared at the edge of the village, emerging from the shadows of the trees, as though he had been waiting for the right moment. His arrival, quiet as it was, did not go unnoticed. There was an air of familiarity about him, though no one could recall ever having seen him before. The villagers gathered in hushed groups, whispering among themselves. There was something about the stranger, something in the way he moved, in the way his gaze flickered toward the river, that made them uneasy. But the stranger did not speak at first. Instead, he made his way to the healer's cottage, where the little girl lay sleeping. He did not knock, but entered with a quiet confidence, as though he had been invited, or had always been meant to enter. The healer, feeling the shift in the air, looked up as he stepped inside. For a moment, they simply regarded each other, the stranger's eyes holding a depth that was both unsettling and strangely familiar. "You know of her," he said quietly, his voice like the sound of a distant storm. "The girl from the river?" The healer nodded slowly, her heart racing in her chest. "Yes, I do. She is a part of something bigger." He continued, his words hanging in the air like a question unspoken. "She carries the river within her, and the river carries her within it. But she does not yet understand what this means." The healer felt her breath catch. What was he saying? How did he know of the girl, of the strange power she carried? The stranger did not wait for a reply. Instead, he turned toward the sleeping child, his eyes softening as he regarded her. "There is much to uncover here," he murmured. "The river has chosen her for a reason, and one day the river will ask her to remember who she truly is." And with that, he turned and walked out of the room, leaving the healer standing still, wondering if the stranger was a sign or a shadow from the past that had returned to fulfill a prophecy long forgotten. Narrate in this second part of the journey, we begin to see more of the mysteries surrounding the little girl and the river. The healer, drawn to the strange melodic song of the river, wonders if the child is more than just a lost girl. Her connection to the river grows stronger, and the mysterious stranger's arrival hints at deeper secrets yet to be uncovered. But what exactly is the river's role in this? Why has it brought the girl to this place? And what does the stranger know that no one else does? The river's whispers grow louder, its song continues, and the secrets of the past remain just out of reach. What will happen next? And will Lila uncover the truth about her connection to the river? Part 3. The secrets beneath the surface. The days continued to pass quietly, yet there was an unmistakable shift in the air. The stranger's visit, though brief, had left an indelible mark on the healer. His words echoed in her mind, whispering through her thoughts like the soft rustling of leaves in a gentle breeze. The river has chosen her for a reason. She couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than a simple story, more than just a girl lost to the river. There was something larger at play, something hidden just beneath the surface, and the stranger had known it. His eyes had held an ancient knowledge, and his words had been wrapped in a mystery that sent a shiver down her spine. The healer found herself drawn to the river more and more. It was as if it were calling to her, asking her to listen to understand. There were whispers in the wind beneath the surface of the water, beneath the stillness of the trees, whispers that seemed to speak to her alone. One evening, as the sun dipped low and the sky was painted in shades of violet and gold, the healer walked along the riverbank, her thoughts heavy with the stranger's words. The air was thick with the scent of wildflowers, and the river, calm and serene, glided by with an almost hypnotic rhythm. She paused for a moment, listening to the soft murmur of the water. It was as though the river was speaking to her, telling her something she had yet to understand. And then, as if the river had read her mind, it began to change. The waters, which had once been peaceful and still started to ripple, tiny waves formed as though an invisible hand was stirring the river beneath its calm surface. For a brief moment the water shimmered, reflecting the colors of the sky, in patterns that were both beautiful and unsettling. The healer stepped closer to the water, her heart racing. Something was about to happen, something she had been waiting for without knowing it. The unveiling. It happened so suddenly that she hardly had time to react. The water parted, not like a usual ripple or wave, but as if the very surface had been peeled back, revealing something hidden beneath. There in the depths of the river she saw it, a faint glow shining from the very bottom where the water was darkest and deepest. It was an ancient worn object half submerged in the silt and stones, but its glow was undeniable. The healer reached down, her fingers brushing the cool water, and she felt the pull, as if the object was calling to her. With a deep breath, she plunged her hand into the water. Her fingers brushed against the cold stone beneath, and she grasped the object. It was heavy, smooth, and covered in moss. Slowly she pulled it from the river's depths, her heart pounding with anticipation. The moment the object broke free from the water, the glow intensified. It was a stone, but not just any stone. It was an amulet etched with symbols that she had never seen before. Ancient worn symbols, but ones that were strangely familiar, as if they belonged to a time long forgotten. She held it in her palm, and the moment her skin touched it, a flash of images exploded in her mind. The river, the village, the little girl. The secrets of the past rushing through her thoughts like a torrent. For a split second, she saw a vision of the girl floating on the river, her face serene, her eyes closed, and the world around her shimmering with ancient power. The healer staggered back, shaken by the force of the vision. She held the amulet in both hands, now feeling its warmth. its pulse as though it had a heartbeat of its own. What was this amulet? What secrets did it hold? The river's whispers grew louder, more urgent. The healer knew in that moment that this amulet was no coincidence. It was tied to the girl, to the river, to everything that had happened, and to everything yet to come. The return of the stranger just as the healer stood there, her heart racing with the weight of what she had just uncovered. She heard footsteps behind her. She turned to see the stranger standing at the edge of the river, his eyes fixed on the amulet in her hands. "You found it," he said softly, his voice carrying the same deep resonance as before. The heart of the river. The healer's hand tightened around the amulet, its warmth now radiating through her fingers. "The heart of the river," she repeated, her voice trembling. "What does this mean?" The stranger stepped closer, his eyes never leaving the amulet. "It means that the river's story is just beginning, and the girl is at the center of it all." His words hung in the air, heavy with meaning, but the healer's mind was spinning. What do you know about her? Why has she come here? The stranger's gaze softened, and for a brief moment he looked almost sad. She is the river's child. She carries its secrets, its history, and she must learn before it's too late. In this part of the story, the healer's journey deepens as she uncovers an ancient amulet hidden beneath the surface of the river. The amulet glows with an unearthly power, and with it she gains a vision of the little girl, as well as a glimpse of the ancient secrets tied to the river. But the stranger's words leave her with more questions than answers. What is the true purpose of the little girl? What is the significance of the river, and why is it calling her? As the mystery deepens, one question lingers in the air. What will the healer discover next about the river's power and the secrets it holds? Part 4. The Song of the River. The healer held the amulet tightly in her hands, its soft glow now steady as though it had found its place in the world once more. The air around her seemed to hum with a quiet energy, the same energy that had surrounded the river since the day the girl had arrived. She turned to look at the stranger, his eyes still fixed on the amulet. "You said she's the river's child," the healer whispered, her voice trembling with both awe and confusion. "What does that mean?" The stranger took a step closer, his expression unreadable, and for a moment it seemed as if he were choosing his words carefully. "Long ago," he began, "the river was not just a body of water. It was a being, a spirit that lived, breathed, and carried the stories of the earth within its flow. And like all spirits, it needed a protector, a child who would carry its heart and soul." The healer's heart beat faster as she listened. "The child would be born to the river," the stranger continued, "and when the time came, the river would call upon them to help it heal, to help it remember its past, and to unlock the secrets it holds." The healer's breath caught in her throat. She glanced down at the amulet once more, its light flickering softly in her hands. "So, the little girl." She trailed off, unsure of what she was asking, but certain that her question would shape the path forward. "The girl," the stranger confirmed, "is that child, and she carries with her not only the memories of the river, but the magic that comes with it. She has the power to restore the river's life. But first, She must remember her purpose. The healer stood still, staring at the amulet in her hands. It was too much to take in all at once. Her mind raced, but she could not find the words. How had this little girl, so quiet, so small, become the key to something as vast and powerful as the river itself? What did she need to remember? And how could she, a mere child, possibly carry such a responsibility? Kakwalichur. The river's call. The stranger seemed to sense her confusion. He turned and began to walk toward the river, his footsteps light on the soft earth. The healer followed him, her gaze never leaving the glowing amulet. They reached the water's edge, where the river flowed quietly, its surface rippling gently as the last rays of the sun kissed the water's surface. This is where it all begins. The stranger said, his voice barely a whisper above the sound of the flowing water. Everything that is everything that has ever been is tied to the river, and it is through the river that the girl will find her strength. The healer knelt at the edge of the river, her fingers brushing the cool surface. She could feel the pulse of the water beneath her touch, strong and steady, as if the river itself were alive, its heart beating in time with hers. For a moment she felt as if she could hear it, the river's song. It was faint at first, a soft murmur, but as she listened closer, it grew clearer, like a melody carried by the wind. It was a hauntingly beautiful song, one that spoke of ancient times, of secrets long buried, and of a bond that had never been broken. The healer closed her eyes, letting the music of the river wash over her, and for a brief moment she was no longer in the village, no longer by the river. She was somewhere else, somewhere far away, where time moved differently, where the river flowed through the hearts of all things. She felt herself being drawn deeper into the song, the melody wrapping around her, like a blanket guiding her further into the past. In her mind's eye, she saw flashes of images. The river in its earliest form, before it had been tamed by human hands, before it had carried boats or whispered secrets. She saw the girl again, floating on the river, her face serene, her body still. And then the image shifted. She saw the girl standing by the river, her hand outstretched as if calling the river to her. The water swirled and churned, and a light as bright as the sun erupted from the river's depths, illuminating the night sky. It was a light that spoke of power, of a bond between the river and the child, a bond that had been forged long ago and could never be broken. The vision faded as quickly as it had come, leaving the healer breathless. She opened her eyes, her heart pounding in her chest. The song of the river still lingered in her mind, but the questions were stronger now. What was the connection between the girl and the river? What role did the river play in the story that was unfolding? And how could she help the girl remember? The stranger's secret. The stranger stood quietly beside her, watching her with those deep, knowing eyes. "Do you understand now?" he asked, his voice soft. The healer nodded slowly, though she was not entirely sure she did. The vision had revealed so much, but there were still so many unanswered questions. The girl, the river, the amulet. They were all tied together in ways she could not yet fully comprehend. She will remember, the stranger said, his tone filled with a quiet certainty. But she cannot do it alone. She will need the river's guidance, and she will need you. The healer looked up at him, her eyes wide. "Me," she whispered. "I don't understand." The stranger's lips curled into a gentle smile. "Trust in the river," he said, "and trust in the girl. Together, you will uncover the secrets hidden beneath the surface." And with that, he turned and walked away, his silhouette disappearing into the fog that had begun to rise from the river. The healer stood alone by the water, her heart full of questions, her mind racing with possibilities. What was the river trying to tell her? And what would the girl discover when she finally remembered who she truly was? The river's call grew louder in her mind, but the answers were still far away, just beyond her reach, waiting to be uncovered. Amariski. In this part of the story, the healer begins to uncover more about the girl's connection to the river, as the mysterious stranger reveals that the girl is no ordinary child. She is the river's chosen one, carrying its secrets and its power. The healer is drawn deeper into the mystery, but there are still many unanswered questions. What will the river reveal next? And how will the healer and the girl uncover the hidden truths beneath the water surface? The journey has only just begun. Part 5. The Heart of the River. The days grew shorter, and the air in the village thickened with an almost palpable tension. The healer could feel it, a change in the river, a change in the girl. It was as if the very earth was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen, waiting for the truth to be revealed. Lila, the mysterious child who had come from the river, remained quiet still, as though the answers were locked away inside her, waiting to be unlocked. She no longer slept as soundly as she once had, her dreams disturbed by something, a whisper, a call, something just out of reach. And yet, there was a new energy about her. A quiet determination had begun to grow in her eyes, as though she knew that something was coming, something that would change everything. One evening, as the full moon rose high in the sky, the healer sat by the fire thinking of the visions she had seen. The river's song had stayed with her, its haunting melody echoing in her mind, growing stronger with each passing day. But there was one thing that had eluded her, one thing she could not understand. What was the river trying to tell her? Why had the river chosen Lila? The soft crackle of the fire was the only sound in the room, and then from the darkness outside came the faintest whisper. At first she thought it was the wind, but then it grew louder, clearer. A voice, soft and distant, calling to her. The healer stood up, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew this voice. It was the river's. Without a word, she made her way to the door, her footsteps silent on the wooden floor. The night air was cool, but it carried the unmistakable scent of the river, fresh and wild, as if it were calling her name. She followed the path to the riverbank, her eyes scanning the moonlit water. The river was still calm, but there was an energy in the air, a tension that made her skin tingle. And then just as she reached the water's edge, she saw it. The boat, it was there again, drifting quietly in the moonlight, as though it had been waiting for her. The healer hesitated, her breath catching in her throat. This was no ordinary boat. It was the same one that had carried Lila to the village. The one that had appeared out of nowhere with no explanation. The boat moved gently on the current, its silhouette barely visible against the dark river. The healer stepped closer, her heart racing, and then, as if the river had sensed her presence, the boat shifted, turning slowly toward her. For a moment, everything seemed to freeze. The river was perfectly still, its surface like glass, reflecting the moon and stars above. The boat glided toward her, and as it drew closer, the healer saw something she had not expected. A figure standing in the boat. It was Lila, but she was not the same. Her eyes glowed with a strange light, a deep, knowing glow, as if she was seeing something beyond the world around her. Her body was still, but her presence was more powerful than ever, radiating an energy that made the very air hum. The healer took a step forward, her voice barely a whisper. "Lila," she called softly, her heart fluttering in her chest. Lila did not speak. Instead, she extended her hand. The motion slow and deliberate. The healer hesitated, but something in Lila's gaze told her to trust to come closer. With a deep breath, the healer stepped forward, her hand reaching out toward the girl. As her fingers touched Lila's, a surge of energy shot through her, a warmth that spread through her veins like fire, a coldness that ran deep into her bones. She gasped, stumbling back, but Lila's grip tightened, pulling her forward again. And then everything around her shifted. Ghoststories klickam. Curry a vision shone time. The world around them blurred the night sky, swirling with starlight and shadows. The river began to glow, its waters shimmering with an otherworldly light, reflecting something beyond the stars, something ancient. In an instant, the healer was no longer standing by the riverbank. She was somewhere else, somewhere far away in a time long forgotten. She saw the river in its earliest form, wild, untamed, its waters flowing like a pulse through the earth. She saw the girl, the same girl, but older, now standing at the river's edge, her eyes filled with purpose. The river called to her, its voice like the sound of thunder, its power undeniable. And as the girl stepped into the water, the river parted before her, revealing something hidden beneath the surface. It was a door, a massive glowing door etched with ancient symbols and runes glowing with the power of the river itself. And as the girl approached the door, began to open, the healer watched her breath caught in her throat. What was behind the door? What secrets did it hold? But just as the door opened wide, the vision shattered. The world returned to normal. The river quiet once more, and Lila stood before her, her hand still outstretched. All for same impantu combined dus knaubab. In this part, the healer's connection with the river deepens as she encounters the mysterious boat once again. She is pulled into a vision that reveals the hidden power of the river and the purpose of the little girl who carries its heart. But what lies behind the glowing door? What secrets are waiting to be uncovered beneath the surface? And what role does Lila truly play in the river story? The questions remain, and the mystery grows ever deeper. Part 6. The River's Secrets. The night was quiet once again, the air still and heavy with the weight of what had just been revealed. The vision, so vivid, so powerful, lingered in the healer's mind. The glowing door, the river's heart, the ancient power hidden beneath the surface. It was all connected to the girl and to the river itself. Lila's hand remained outstretched, her eyes locked onto the healer's, as if waiting for her to understand, to accept what had been shown. For a moment the healer stood still, her heart pounding in her chest, her mind racing. What had she seen, and what did it mean for Lila? The river, she realized, was not just a body of water. It was a living entity, a spirit that had been here long before the village, long before the world had changed. And now the girl Lila was part of it. The river had chosen her, and she carried with her the key to unlocking its deepest secrets. The truth beneath the surface. The healer stepped back, her hand still gripping the amulet tightly. The light from the river flickered in her eyes, and she felt the call again, stronger this time, echoing deep within her chest. She could no longer ignore it. She could no longer pretend that the river was just a river. "Lila," she whispered, her voice barely a breath. "What is this place? What do you need me to do?" Lila's lips parted, but instead of speaking, she pointed toward the river. Her eyes were full of something, a quiet understanding, as though she knew that the time had come to reveal everything. The healer followed the gesture, her gaze fixed on the flowing water. It was calm again, but there was something beneath the surface, something waiting. The river was calling her, urging her to go deeper to find the answers hidden below. Without a word, Lila stepped forward slowly, as though she had been here before, as though she knew the path. The healer hesitated for just a moment, but the pull was undeniable. She followed the girl to the water's edge, her feet light on the cool stones beneath her. And then the river spoke. It wasn't a voice in the traditional sense, but a feeling, a vibration that filled the air, the earth, the water itself. The healer could feel it all around her, a deep, ancient power that pulsed through the very veins of the river. It was as if the river had been waiting for this moment, for Lila to step forward and take her place. The door to the past. Lila knelt by the water, her fingers brushing the surface gently. The river stirred its ripples, growing stronger, but it wasn't the current that moved the water now. It was something else, something hidden beneath the surface. The water swirled, forming patterned shapes, symbols that seemed to shimmer and glow in the moonlight. The healer watched in awe, her breath caught in her throat. She had seen these symbols before in the vision, on the amulet, on the ancient door that had been hidden beneath the water. They were the key, the gateway to the secrets the river held. Lila extended her hand toward the water, and as her fingers touched the surface, the river responded. The symbols seemed to pulse with light, and the water parted, revealing a dark, hidden space beneath the surface. It was a doorway, a portal to something ancient, something that had been buried for centuries. The healer knelt beside Lila, her heart pounding in her chest. "What is this?" she whispered, her voice trembling with wonder and fear. "This is the river's heart," Lila said softly, her voice carrying the weight of something deep and powerful. "It is where the past is kept, where the secrets of the earth of the river are hidden. Only those who are chosen can enter." The healer looked down at the water, her eyes filled with a mix of fear and fascination. The river's secrets had always been hidden from the world, but now the girl, the one who carried the river's heart, was showing her the way. choice. The water began to swirl faster, its energy building. The symbols glowed brighter, and the air around them grew thick with magic, with the ancient power of the river. The healer felt it, the pull of the river, the call to step into the unknown. She could feel the weight of the choice before her. Lila's eyes met hers, and in that moment, the healer understood. She wasn't just a witness to the river's story. She was part of it. She was part of the journey, part of the ancient connection between the girl and the river. And she had to choose. She had to step forward, or she would remain forever in the shadow of the unknown. As the healer stands on the edge of the river, she faces the ultimate choice to step forward and uncover the river's secrets, to embrace the unknown, or to turn away and leave the mysteries of the past buried. The river's call is strong, its power undeniable, and the time has come for both the healer and the girl to face the truth. But what lies behind the glowing door? What ancient secrets will be uncovered? And what role will Lila play in the river's unfolding story? The mystery grows deeper with each passing moment, and the answers are just beneath the surface. But the question remains, what will they find when they step into the heart of the river? Part 7. The Heart of the River's Secret. The air was thick with anticipation. The river's whispers swirling like a storm, its power growing stronger with each passing moment. The healer stood at the water's edge, her heart pounding in her chest, her hand still holding the amulet, its warmth radiating through her fingers. Beside her, Lila was silent, her eyes fixed on the shimmering water as if waiting for something. The river, once so calm and serene, was now alive with energy, its surface swirling with light and shadow, its current pulsing with a force that seemed to speak directly to the healer's soul. It was as if the river was not just a body of water, but a living, breathing entity carrying with it the history of the world. Lila, the child of the river, was at the heart of it all. The healer could feel it now deep in her bones. This child was not just a lost girl. She was the key, the vessel through which the river's story would unfold. Lila stepped forward, her bare feet pressing gently against the river's surface. For a moment, the water parted around her, as if acknowledging her presence, recognizing her as one of its own. The healer hesitated, her breath caught in her throat, but then, with a soft breath of resolve, she followed. Getsleepy. Into the depths. As the healer stepped into the water, she felt the coolness envelop her, the river's touch both soothing and electric. It was as though the water was alive, its current guiding her, pulling her deeper into its embrace. She looked at Lila, whose face was now illuminated by the glow of the river. There was something about the girl's expression, a calm, a certainty, that made the healer feel for the first time that she wasn't alone in this journey. The water rose higher, reaching up to her waist, and still Lila led the way, her hand outstretched as if beckoning the healer to follow. Together they moved deeper into the river, the water now rising to their chests. It felt as though the river was lifting them, carrying them towards something hidden beneath the surface, something ancient and forgotten. And then, as the river's current slowed, the healer saw it. a faint glow beneath the water coming from deep below its light, pulsing in time with the river's flow. The healer's heart skipped a beat. What was that light? What was hidden beneath the surface of the water, waiting to be uncovered? The hidden temple. Lila's footsteps grew lighter, almost as if she were walking on air, and the healer, still clutching the amulet, followed her down into the depths. The water no longer seemed cold, but warm and comforting, as if the river itself were guiding them. The current had all but stopped, and the river's surface shimmered with a silver light. And then, as the water parted before them, they came to a place that seemed both ancient and eternal. There, hidden beneath the depths of the river, was a stone temple. Its walls were covered in intricate carvings, symbols, and runes that glowed faintly with the same light that illuminated the river. The temple seemed to rise from the water, its pillars strong and unyielding, yet worn by time. Lila stood before the entrance, her eyes focused on the temple, as if she knew exactly what it was, what it meant. The healer felt a strange sense of awe and fear wash over her. This was no ordinary place. It was something ancient, something hidden for a reason, and now they were standing at its entrance. Lila stepped forward, her fingers brushing the carved stone, and the temple doors slowly creaked open. A soft golden light spilled from within, casting long shadows on the water. The healer, though hesitant, stepped forward as well. Together, they crossed the threshold. Marguerite's, the river's memory. Inside the temple, the air was thick with history. The walls were adorned with carvings of the river's journey, its twists and turns, its rise and fall. But what struck the healer most was the central figure, a large glowing stone at the heart of the temple. It pulsed with light, its surface smooth and polished, and when the healer stepped closer, she could feel the energy emanating from it. "This is the heart of the river," Lila said, her voice echoing softly in the temple. "It is where everything begins, where everything ends. The river holds the memories of the world, and it chooses those who will carry its secrets." The healer's gaze remained fixed on the stone. It seemed to hum with energy, and she felt her fingers itching to touch it, to understand what it was, what it could do. But before she could reach out, a voice spoke soft, yet unmistakably clear. "Do you wish to see the truth?" The voice was both old and new, as if it had been waiting for this moment for centuries. The healer nodded slowly. She'd come this far, and now she had to know the truth. And with that, the stone's light flared brightly, and the room around them seemed to dissolve the walls, the temple all fading into nothingness. The healer found herself standing at the edge of the river once more. But this time, she could see it as it truly was, a living being, its pulse, like the beating of a heart, its waters carrying the memories of the earth itself. "Aunt entre kan entsagen." In this part of the story, the healer and Lila uncover the hidden temple beneath the river, a place of ancient power and mystery. They step into the river's heart, where secrets are revealed, and the truth about the river's true nature begins to unfold. But there is still so much more to discover. What does the heart of the river hold? What secrets are locked within its ancient stone? And what role does Lila truly play in the river's journey? The answers lie within the depths, but they are not easily revealed. As the river's call grows louder, the healer and Lila must decide, will they uncover the full truth of the river's memory, or will they walk away, leaving the secrets buried beneath the surface? The journey is only beginning. Part 8. The River's Heart Revealed. The golden light from the stone illuminated the temple's interior, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch and dance along the ancient walls. The healer stood frozen, her gaze fixed on the glowing stone at the center of the room. It pulsed with energy, its light warm and inviting, yet it held something far more ancient and powerful beneath its surface. It was as if the stone itself was alive, its heartbeat echoing in the healer's chest. Beside her, Lila remained still, her presence calm and steady, as though she knew exactly what was about to unfold. Her eyes shimmered with a deep understanding, and the healer realized this child was not just a vessel, but a part of the river itself. She was the river's memory, its keeper, its protector. As the healer took a step closer to the stone, she could feel the warmth emanating from it, its power wrapping around her like a gentle embrace. She'd come so far, but this moment was unlike any other. This was the heart of the river, and it was offering her something, a truth, a revelation, but only if she was ready to receive it. The voice, soft yet clear, spoke once more. Do you wish to see what lies beneath the surface? The healer's heart raced in her chest. She had already seen so much, but there was still so much to learn. She nodded slowly, her voice barely a whisper. Yes. The moment the word left her lips, the stone's light flared brightly. The room seemed to shift, as if the very walls were breathing. The healer felt herself drawn into the light, and for a brief moment, everything around her faded away. Just its mentoritis sid. A vision of the past. When the light subsided, the healer found herself standing on the banks of the river. But this was not the river she knew. The water was different, richer, wilder, full of life. It was as if the river itself was in its prime, its waters flowing with untamed energy, its currents strong and vibrant. Lila stood beside her, now older. Her eyes filled with the wisdom of ages. She did not speak, but the healer could feel the connection between them, a silent understanding that transcended words. The healer followed her gaze and saw the river in all its glory, its surface rippling with light, its depths holding secrets yet to be uncovered. The healer's heart swelled with awe as she realized the truth. The river was not just a river, it was a memory, a story that had been passed down for centuries, its waters holding the essence of life itself. It had been here before time began, and it would be here long after everything else had faded away. The vision shifted, and the healer saw something new. The river was no longer just a flowing current. It was a bridge, a path that connected all things. She saw glimpses of lives lived and lost, of people who had come to the river for guidance, for solace, for answers. The river had been there for all of them, its waters carrying their stories, their hopes, their dreams. And then the vision shifted again. The healer saw the river's future, a future where Lila, the river's chosen child, would play a pivotal role in its continuation. She would protect the river, preserve its stories, and ensure that its memory would never fade. Fine. The river's choice. As the vision faded, the healer found herself back in the temple, standing before the glowing stone. Lila was beside her, her hand resting gently on the stone surface. The healer could feel the weight of what had just been revealed. The river's past, its present, its future. All of it was tied to Lila. The stone's glow dimmed slightly, and the healer felt a sudden sense of peace. The answers she had sought were clear now. But there was one more question that remained, one that she had to ask. What is the choice? Lila the healer whispered, her voice trembling. What must you do now? Lila turned to face her, her eyes filled with a quiet certainty. The river has brought me here for a reason, she said softly. I must remember who I am. I must embrace the river's heart, its power, and protect its memory. The healer nodded, understanding at last. This was the moment, the turning point. Lila had to choose to accept the river's call, to take on its power, or to walk away, leaving the river's story behind. But there was no turning back now. Lila had already stepped into her role, and the river had already begun to change her. This was her destiny, and the healer knew that her role in this story was just as important. She had to guide the river, help it find its way through the future, and ensure that the secrets it held would never be forgotten. The revelation. With one final deep breath, Lila placed both hands on the glowing stone. The river's pulse quickened, its light intensifying. The healer stepped back, watching in awe as the stone began to glow brighter than ever before. The river, too, began to stir its surface, swirling with a newfound energy. The air around them hummed, and the healer felt the presence of something ancient, something eternal filling the space around them. The river's memory, its heart, its power was being unlocked. The light grew brighter, and the healer closed her eyes, feeling the pulse of the river in her chest. The river had been waiting for this moment, waiting for Lila to remember, waiting for the secrets to be revealed. And now the journey was about to begin. Anititinans Anikansi. In this part of the story, the healer uncovers the river's deepest secrets. She sees the past, the present, and the future of the river, and learns of Lila's true purpose as the river's chosen one. But the story is far from over. What happens when Lila fully embraces the river's power? What role will the healer play in the river's future? And what will happen when the river's heart is fully revealed? The journey has only just begun, and the river's secrets are far deeper than anyone could have imagined. The healer's journey through the river's secrets has led her to discover the deep connection between Lila and the river itself, as the glowing stone in the temple pulses with ancient power. Lila embraces her role as the river's chosen protector, ready to unlock its hidden past and safeguard its future. The truth about the river's heart, the memories it holds, and the path that lies ahead has finally begun to unfold. But what will happen when Lila fully awakens the river's power, and what secrets are still buried deep beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered? the first part of the Once Upon a River story. The mysterious little girl has come to an end. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to seeing you again in part 2, The Mysterious Story.